since she's already agreed to do so. So you're charging her how much in total?
Okay, let's see. According to this, we're looking at 50, 180, 90, 215, 230, 232 gold pieces.
232?
Yes. I believe.
She's willing to give you a third of that. 76 gold pieces. Because she did promise to cover some of your expenses. However, she says it does seem like you have funding options far in excess of what she can provide at this point. And she wishes you well in your investigation, but she's going to seek other avenues in order to actually solve the problem rather than simply capitalize on it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
She gives you 76 gold. Corio loves this idea.
Mm-hmm.
So after the meal, as you're getting on into the afternoon, and you kind of alienated Journey, and she's gone about her business, Corio loves this idea, thinks you can do great things for the people of Dunfoss, by which he means the wealthy people of Dunfoss.
Oh, of course.
And protect
He's a fireblood.
and protect their children and combat the fell magics, he says. But then he kind of stops and thinks for a moment. Says, I'm not completely sure how this furthers the investigation I have hired you for. But I'm sure that it does. I'm sure that you're connecting the dots on your own time. Lucius, I have full faith in you, my friend. And I will be sending a case of my finest to your barge tonight. And he slaps you on the back again.
Thank you very much.
And you made 76 gold.
Sweet.
And potential for work actions.
Let's see, where should I put that? I guess we're gonna scratch. I guess we're gonna scratch all this if she's just not gonna pay us, which is fine, I guess.
Don't you scratch that. You did a bad job. That doesn't mean the rest of us are going to accept that.
Look, calm your tits, okay? This is a lady who is like very principled and shit.
Also,
Like
Corio,
I can only work with what I'm given here.
also the Ponce was there, poncing it up.
Yeah, he was not making my job any easier.
You did kind of get pounced.
I
We'll see how much money you can make working for these guys.
Listen, I feel like every time McDohl tries to go and do something clever and speak to an NPC, the Ponce shows up and just ponces the hell out of McDohl. Poor Lucius.
Where is Lucius today? Let me check my computer.
Listen, Lucius specifically went to the place where he's staying.
Yeah,
Like, that was going to happen.
Let's look up Lucius today. Where is he? Aha, there he is.
He gets out his little Ponce PDA. He gets the Lucius app.
He's got a chip in the back of Lucius's neck.
God.
Florian.
That's
The
me.
Ponce is my patron now, I bet.
Are you skewing more towards dwarves or half-elves in your search?
I was gonna say dwarves, but since Florian is a half-elf, let's say half-elf.
So one place that you can direct your search, one half-elf you know for sure was alive back then, would be Joni Fletcher. Joni Fletcher is the current chairwoman of the Court of Commons. And she is probably the front-runner for being selected as the next king of Dunfoss. She was appointed to her position by Juliana I. By all accounts, they were good friends, and she served her loyally through her entire tenure, and she served Dunfoss loyally ever since. Joni is a half-elf, but she's very old, and I'm gonna guess that none of the five of you actually have any clout to get close to her. But that is one avenue you can open up.
Question: how old is actually a very old half elf? How old? How long do
Half
half
elf
elves live?
lifespans are about as long as humans typically, but they don't always age the same way that humans do. There's the actual canon rules for this are very loosey goosey, and my thought about that is because it really depends on like how much elven blood you have, how many generations you are removed from actually being an elf. So, in human terms, Joni is probably 70 or 80 years old. But by all accounts, she still works daily. She's still extremely sharp, and she would have, she probably would have unique knowledge of Juliana's ascendants back in the day. The problem is getting close to her. You're not just going to step into her office and be like, "Hi, I live on a boat. Can I ask you some questions?"
No, don't say
Florian
that.
might try.
Oh,
But,
wow.
Okay.
The other avenue you could go is you would have used your morning action to uncover a random dwarven house here that you might go find instead.
No, I want to pursue this Joni Fletcher angle.
Okay.
But I got to figure out how. I got to figure out
On a
reasonable
scale of
approach.
1 to 10, how much risk are you willing to accept?
I've already started so much shit today, though.
So 10.
So 10.
Like,
10?
Oh God! Why Nodal? Why did you say that? What is wrong with you?
No. This deals with nobility, and we should not. And we've already got a dwarven house pissed at us. We're already indebted to another noble.
I don't think he's a noble.
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
Yet, not until we're done with them.
What is the difference between a 9 and a 10 anyway? No, full throttle 10. I
Okay.
can't not say 10. I can't not say 10.
You spend your morning looking for openings to get into the Court of Commons. It's a place that you could just go into, like if you had to make, like, lodge a complaint, make a, like, register for, like, a judiciary filing, like so-and-so is encroaching on my land, or so-and-so dried up my well, that kind of stuff would be handled through the Court of Commons. Also, anybody who owns or operates a business in Dunfoss, but is not themselves a member of nobility or any other trade guild, which I imagine would include Flumph Inc.
That wouldn't, yeah.
Could also come here if they have official business pertaining directly to your business. Here's what you managed to find out. Everybody at the Court of Commons is kind of preparing. They're kind of bending all of their efforts in the direction to prepare for Joni Fletcher being named as the next king of Dunfoss. But there is quite a lot of apprehension here. Because it seems like Joni herself doesn't think she's going to be the one named. She thinks there are several other strong contenders. What Joni might be interested in enough to give you a meeting with her today, an audience today with her and her people, would be political dirt on one of her rivals. So something about Percival Penniless, Shemrith Surefoot, Journey, or Captain Sigurd Tensails.
I remember 2 of those names. What do we know about Sigurd?
Very little. He hasn't been in the campaign yet. He is
Okay.
a pirate and privateer. He was appointed privateer by Juliana. He sailed away from Dunfoss after her death. He's returned a few times in the past 3 or 4 years with untold wealth and tales of high adventure, and this makes him a bit of a folk hero amongst the people.
And what was the other name?
There was Journey, who you know,
Yeah, we know Journey.
Percival Penniless, and Shemrith
we know.
Surefooted. He's the one with the bum leg that you helped not get assassinated. He was the one with the 2 guys that had gotten letters.
Oh, man. Oh, man. That's a 10 alright, huh?
If you know something that you think you could bluff something that could destroy one or more of these rivals, Joni Fletcher might be open to hearing it. The other way to do it is try to schedule a regular appointment. She'll put you on the books for 3 or 4 weeks from now, or maybe never. Most of her job, because all adjudication comes from the crown in Dunfoss, but when it comes to adjudication of common problems amongst peasants, amongst small landowners, amongst businesses and things in town, the crown gives Joni Fletcher the power to make those decisions one way or the other. So a lot of her job is to sit in a chair and listen to people complain at her all day long. And then she makes a decision, kind of like Judge Judy, a little bit. You owe so-and-so's 10 silver, you owe so-and-so 8 pigs, that kind of thing.
Okay. Show's fake, you know.
What?
Are we really gonna go through that again?
No,
Really?
we're not. This would actually not be something Florian would be comfortable with.
Okay.
Considering we'd have business with 3 of those people.
Oh, yeah, no, this would definitely be slitting your own throat.
Yeah, this would have to be a decision that Flumph Inc. has to come to as a group.
Okay.
Florian is not comfortable making this call by himself.
Okay.
Or maybe we don't make call at all, but it is a window of opportunity, and therefore it should be shared with the rest.
The other thought that occurs to you is that if Joni Fletcher is named king, she would have the power to simply declare the Ponce any level of nobility she chooses. If you're instrumental in putting her into office and then she owes you a favor, you can call the investigation done right there. The whole thing becomes moot. I think you guys have actually discussed that before.
Actually, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have. That is an avenue.
So you're going to put that in your back pocket until you've had a chance to talk with the dudes?
Yeah.
Okay. Seeker, you were going to Leonid Hosnard's manor this afternoon, correct?
Yes.
Is anybody going with Seeker to that meeting?
Yeah, Florian will.
Seeker didn't come back to get Florian.
Okay, then Florian will.
Seeker, you just want the whole scene to yourself?
Seeker's got a plan,
Okay.
and Florian is not instrumental to that plan.
Now, I feel like I need to ask now, what is Seeker's plan?
So, he heard that this is a guy who's well known for throwing good money after bad,
Yeah.
and is also the link in the chain to find out who the heck paid for this with fake money.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go to the guy and present Flumph Inc. as a retrieval service. For a very reasonable fee, we will hunt down the person who gave him this fake gold. And as part of that service, he has to tell us everything he knows about him. Seeker's plan is to get this guy to pay to give Seeker the information Seeker wants.
Okay.
Oh no.
The difficulty with this is going into it, you know the person that paid him bad gold is already dead, because you literally just watched him die.
Mm-hmm. So it should be a very easy case.
This is a situation.
What are Alex and Gus and Lucius doing in the afternoon? If anything.
I mean, Alex is a little bit upset when he finds out about the fact that we didn't get fully paid by Journey, and now we're expected to go make money off of these nobles for anti-warlock preventions instead. And then he'll go take the work action for whatever gullible noble is willing to let him walk around their place with cartographer's tools and see if we can find any underground explosive chambers.
So you're going to do that this afternoon?
Yep.
I think the work action pays you weekly.
Yeah.
But we're reducing it to 1/6 for taking it for 1 day,
Right.
and you can double whatever that number is, because
Well, the thing is,
Lucius
like,
has convinced
if you-
these people this is an extremely valuable service.
comfortable living is a specific gold value for, like, in the player's handbook, right?
Yeah,
Yes. But we can just reduce that by 1/6. That gives you comfortable living for 1 day.
yeah. So reduce it by 1/3.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Is-
Chartographer's Tools is...
Gus, are you also taking the work action?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm sorry. I'm still processing all the shenanigans that have happened in the last 50. I'm going to stay on the barge tonight, I think.
Well, this is for
'Cause
the
I
afternoon.
did. Oh, okay. The afternoon. I'm going to go.
You can go back to the barge if you want.
No, I'm going to go to Wharftown and like ask around and see if anybody has gotten it, if any more of the letters have shown up.
Are you asking the gentleman
No,
and his people? Okay.
just
Just kind of
Oh, that's...
because I don't have 50 gold to pay the gentleman.
right.
So that's comfortable living plus 25.
Do they
Yeah.
have any? Do they have any like illicit fight clubs that I
Yeah.
can get money at? From?
Sure, if you go to the gentleman, he can
Okay,
probably.
fine. That seems like a better bet to make money for me.
And Alexander,
fight in a
go
basement.
ahead and roll me the work complications table.
Okay, give me 1 second to... Alright, 1d6. And I got the plus 25 gold
Okay.
on that. Chartographer's Tools Tech check 6, which is...
Oh, hold on. I'm supposed to roll to see if you get a complication first. There's only a 10% chance you roll
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
Roll it anyway. Let's see what you might get.
Reputation for laziness, unjustified or not as you choose, giving you disadvantage on checks made for this downtime activity for the next 6 work weeks.
Fortunately, I didn't roll under the 10, so you do not
Okay.
gain that complication. So how much money did you make?
2 divided by 3. I think 9 gold pieces.
Okay. Not bad for a day's work. Here's my question. Were you actually trying to do something of value, or did you just show up and kind of poke around a little bit and then tell them they're good and there's no warlock?
No, I
under the
totally
books?
was doing stuff of value. It might not be valuable to them, but, like, I now have a very good chart of whatever this person's personal holdings are and how you might attack it from the underground.
Okay.
Like, if I was actually casing the joint, this would be an amazing scheme. If I was actually a thief.
Gus, give me an investigation check, please.
Oh, okay.
Did I get an afternoon action?
That is a 17.
17.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's a 18.
Okay. What was Lucius doing this afternoon? I hadn't gotten to
Lucius
you yet.
wanted. Okay, I'm sorry. Lucius wanted to put his ear to the ground at East Harbor and see if there have been if there's any developments on when the new Keyskin ambassador is supposed to be arriving.
Oh, it takes months to sail from Kiska.
Okay.
Yeah, so it won't be anytime soon.
All right, then scratch that.
There are, I mean, of course, you do know there are methods for an ambassador to travel instantly using teleportation. It's an open secret, especially considering who you are. You would know there is a teleportation circle between Kiska and the Kingdom of Blue Worm to the south. But
Imagine they would want the pomp and circumstance of the new ambassador arriving.
exactly, it's going to be a long time.
Can you knock out one of the other ones actions and come back to me, please?
Seeker.
Yeah.
Arriving at this house, they have bought some dilapidated, falling apart manor. It's got to be the cheapest one on the market at the time. And For what it's worth, Leonid has several burly sons out fixing it up. So when you arrive, I mean, they're busy, they're at work, shoring up walls and installing windows and moving ladders around, and the place looks like a construction zone. It barely looks habitable. They're cheerful enough, and they greet you as you walk in. They think you're kind of oddly dressed, but why do you say that you're there?
I say that I'm here from Flumph Inc., and we've been investigating a scam artist who's been paying people in fake gold, and I have reason to believe that they might have been taken advantage of.
The two boys look at each other, back and forth, and look at you and say, oh, I don't think that describes anyone here, as our dad would never accept fake gold.
See, that's the trick, is the gold itself is highly enchanted. It's almost impossible to tell the difference of. But over time, it loses its luster and proves itself worthless. Anyone could be taken advantage of. It's not an embarrassing thing at all.
Make an insight check.
Mm-hmm. That is a 11.
An 11?
Yep.
The boys seem confused, and they seem very sure that their father wouldn't have fallen for such a trick. But they also see that, I mean, you look like you're kind of officially dressed, maybe from one of the mages guilds or something, whatever Flumph Inc. is. There's a lot of mages guilds here in Dunfox. And one of them offers to go inside and rouse his father from his books.
Thank you, that'd be very kind.
When Hosnard comes out, I mean, he's just this fat, just sunburned man with a bald spot. Like, he's wearing relatively newly made noble's finery, but it doesn't fit him that well. Like, the tailor didn't do that good of a job. His house doesn't have colors or arms or anything of that nature yet, so it's just very confused fashion-wise. And when he speaks to you, he's trying to speak well above his station, but he keeps slipping back into his peasant's tongue. He greets you as Lord, even though that's not your title. He doesn't really know how to speak.
I'm not gonna...
Okay. He's not being impolite or anything, but the question is, how do you raise this issue of, oh, by the way, I know you got scammed?
I'm going to tell him that we're on the trail of someone who has been purchasing magical items,
Mm-hmm.
and that the last person that we had spoken to had checked his treasury upon our recommendation and found that the gold was itself worthless. And I'm going to tell him I don't mind waiting if he feels uncomfortable doing it in my presence, but I think he should check his own treasury.
As you describe this, his face turns beet red, and you can tell he's extremely embarrassed that he hasn't hidden this fact as well as he might have thought he did. He clearly already knows he's been scammed, and now he knows that you know it. And he, as politely as he can muster, he invites you inside.
Mm-hmm. And I'll follow him in.
And he brings you into a very drafty solar, where part of the back roof still has not been properly shorn up yet. The floorboards in that area, there's several sodden rugs in place back there where the water is still dripping down through the wall. He closes the door behind you, and he tells you that somebody approached him needing money to purchase, and then he describes the magic items, the magical sales that you found.
Mm-hmm.
That if he put up the money to purchase the items, he would be reimbursed plus a 10% finder's fee. That was all there. It was gold for sure, but he was told that if he involved the Signers Guild in the transaction, that he would be found out, because this kind of trade is illegal.
And Seeker will nod to that sadly and say, it's not only you, it happened to many of your station. Don't be embarrassed.
And he kind of sits back a little bit, and he asks who else.
Seeker will make up a name. What's the name of someone living in the middle of town?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead and make a deception
Yeah.
check.
Alright. Sorry, my mouse fell. I just noticed it.
Too many mice.
Too many mice.
Used to be you could just grab the wire and fish it back up, but
It's a mess. That is a 10.
a 10?
Yeah. Does he seem fooled?
He seems like he wants to believe you that he
Yeah.
wasn't the only person to fall for this trick. Like, the idea that somebody else might have fallen for it does seem to put him at ease. He asks you if you found his money.
I say that we're still on the trail of the person, but I can assure him that the items have not been used yet, or we would have seen the magical traces of their usage.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, even if we can't find his money, we will surely be able to return the items to him, and then he can either find another buyer or try to take it up with whoever he bought the item from in the first place.
And who do you tell him you're representing?
And I'll slide my card across the table.
And, I mean, this is a, at best, early Renaissance era society, so he has no idea what a business card is. He just...
Seeker
at
has
it and,
100% just printed the logo of Flumph Inc. and then his own name. He didn't make one for anyone else, but Seeker knows the value of a prop.
Okay. He asks if Flumph Inc. can facilitate this kind of trade. Would he be able to find a credible buyer?
I tell him that that's a little bit outside of our wheelhouse. We could certainly try to put in the time, but we're a bit loaded down with other cases at the moment. He might be better off finding someone else.
What is your fee to track down this person and potentially the magic items if they haven't vanished by now?
500 gold.
What was the purchase price of the item itself? Seeker says they'll take if it was a 10% finder's fee that he paid, they would consider that enough. Simply give them the fee that they would have gotten in return, and in return we'll give him back the item.
The money in question was 12,000 gold, so the finder's fee was 10% of that.
So 1,200 gold.
And he seems to think about it for a little bit, and he says, "But you're sure you can get the items back?"
I'm certain of it.
And you might be able to find a credible buyer? He asks if you might be able to find a credible buyer.
And Seeker looks like he's thinking about it for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then says, if we can't find such a buyer, we'll knock off half the price. Call it 600 gold if we're unable to find a buyer for you.
He thinks about it. He says that the price is agreeable.
And I'll stand up and shake his hand.
And he goes to shake your hand. He's still looking at the card. He says, "Wait a minute. Flumph Inc.
Yeah.
One of my sons was at a breakfast this morning. I think we have an appointment with one of your people to come over and warlock-proof the house."
And Seeker, just like his face kind of just twitches for a moment because he hasn't heard this news yet because he hasn't gone back. And then he'll say, I thought you might have heard our name. We're the heroes of the hour over in the piers. We saved Percival penniless, from a warlock attack. We've become something of an expert in the area. People have been seeking our services a lot.
He nods, and he seems satisfied by the answer. He agrees to give you 300 gold pieces now, and the other 300 when the items are returned to him, with the other
And-
half on contingent of you arranging a buyer for him.
And if he can think of any more information about the man who made the purchase from him, or he hears of anyone else who was taken advantage of by this brigand, to make sure that he gives them our card.
He tells you he doesn't know the name of the man who was doing the business with him. He only spoke to his manservant. He describes Thettle.
Okay.
But he thinks about it. He says he knows the name of the house where the items were stored after arriving in Dunfoss, before they changed hands.
Oh?
He gives you the name Indralock. Indralock is an old family in Dunfoss whose manor has kind of fallen into ruin. And every so often, the Mosscaps or some other authority finds like a smuggling operation being run out of the house, because it's kind of centrally located in East Harbor. So things can arrive by ship, be stored there for a few days, and then moved out under cover of darkness. The Mosscaps have kind of cleaned this place out a few times. And he thinks that the items that he arranged, these magical sales, spent time there. Although he obviously doesn't have any contacts who are working there at the moment.
Thank you very much. You've been a great help. And I don't have any problem in telling you, you're a hero at the moment. This man is a danger to the city.
Oh, he definitely likes hearing that. As he hands you the 300 gold, he tells you, though, and of course, this is being kept in strictest confidence. Like, nobody else is going to know that, you know, the unpleasantness with the small rocks that I thought were gold pieces.
Right.
He asks if you have any use for the 12,000 rocks.
And Seeker thinks for a moment, and then just kind of nods. Actually, I think one of our men might be interested in them. Maybe a few of them, not necessarily the whole 1,200.
And out behind his manor house, he does indeed just have a pile of, like, chips of shell and stone that are kind of, sort of formed like gold pieces that with the proper illusion magic. And he tells you could take as many as you like.
And I'll fill up a small bag, bring them home. This is your birthday and Christmas gift.
Lucius. Afternoon action.
Yes, I would like to put my ear to the ground. We established before that we had people that we were kind of buddy with in the Mosscaps before they got reassigned, right?
Yes.
I think what Lucius would try to do is to try and rekindle that, try to find one of those guys.
Okay.
And
Roll
see
an investigation check. Your DC is 10. I need to know how many successes you beat the DC by.
Okay. Why can't I have anything nice?
Why not?
Because I can't roll for anything today. That's a 7.
7. You spend
Yeah.
the afternoon, but your attempts are frustrated. You're not able to find out where any of the boss caps that you knew have been reassigned to, or
Frustrating
where the
is the
patrols might
word,
be.
yes.
And I think that leaves us with Gustavus.
Yes.
Got an 18 on your investigation to look for letters in Wharftown. So far, there have been no more reports of these letters being found. In fact, the talk is still over this body that was found down by the warehouses. This, make an insight check.
Sure. That is a 12.
12. Without going to the gentleman yourself, you can't be certain, but it seems as though since the gentleman has rebuffed the flying pig, that the fiend has been focusing his attention elsewhere.
Okay.
It looks like Wharftown hasn't found any more of these letters, or if they have, they've been redirected to the gentleman's people who you haven't been contacting today. And then, Florian, you were going to go back to the barge and talk political sabotage over with your companions, yes?
That is correct.
So, good news and bad news. The good news is everybody makes it back to the barge before evening.
Cool.
The bad news is there's a delivery waiting there for you that your receptionist has accepted. And it's in a large crate in the corner of your entryway office with a blanket thrown over it. And the crate is bouncing up and down, and a lot of violent noises are emanating from it. And Kevin tells you that this was brought to you for questioning by Inaharis Warlocksbane.
Questioning. Like, Gus is just gonna walk over and just
Oh, did you tell her about the plan to blow her house?
Kevin didn't know about
Was
the
she
plan to
here?
blow her house up. She was here briefly, just long enough to drop this thing
I
off.
just missed her.
She wasn't here long enough for Kevin, or what's her name, Lucy, the half orc. I don't.
Lisa, I
Lisa.
think.
Lisa.
Lisa
fine.
Lisa Vesterhoff?
Yeah.
Not long enough for Kevin or Lisa to tell her, "Hey, don't leave that
Linda.
thing here."
Linda, yes, Linda.
It's
Vesterhoff.
Lisa now.
Hey, all the more power to her if she keeps changing her name.
All right.
Let's get this.
Wait, one moment. One moment.
I,
Warlock Insurance?
I
That's
mean,
how
you
it was
did
interpreted.
get the 260-ish gold of expense.
What? How did we turn 260 gold into Warlock Insurance? Do we have a reverse alchemist?
I am very confused by this conversation.
Yes, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Listen,
Warlock Insurance?
Listen, the Ponce. Lucius looks over his shoulder at the thing. The Ponce intercepted me when I was trying to get Journey on her own, and one thing led to another, and suddenly Warlock Insurance became a thing. The kind of topic of conversation.
So, I'm sorry.
5 of us.
Do we?
All right, I made 9 gold today working for that guy, by the way. So there's 5 of us. I mean, that would have come out to our advantage after a couple of days of work, but it's a lot of time.
Yeah,
I'm
no, it's a
sorry,
lot of time
Do we
investment.
sell Warlock Insurance now?
We sell tarps.
I mean, I did just check out a nobleman's manor and make sure they couldn't do the same sort of tunnel underneath and explode from below that they were going to do on Warlocksbane today.
I sold the tarp, by the way.
Oh.
We got 600 gold for it.
Neat.
That's not bad.
And some
Yeah.
information.
While
good.
they're doing this, Gus is just
No,
going to
Gus,
lift up
no.
the.
Do not, Gus. Please, for God's sake, one thing at a time.
A lot of
What
sound
kind of
coming out of
noise
there.
is this
A lot of
thing making?
growling and banging against the metal bars of the crate.
Can I make an
Hey,
Arcana check to try to recognize the growling?
No, but you
Yeah.
can lift the tarp up over off of it, the blanket.
All right, let's lift the tarp.
And inside, you see a small creature. Smaller than a gnome, but still humanoid. It looks like it might be a scrawny pig creature. It has a snout and a curly tail. But it's got these
no.
bony arms. Each of its 4 limbs has one too many joints. And instead of hooves, it has fingers and toes. And as you lift the blanket off, you see that its eyes are glassy and solid. There's no iris or pupils. And it angrily grabs hold of the side of this crate with its hands and its claw-like feet and its teeth. And it's just... It doesn't have the strength to actually break out. But it is giving this crate the business.
Gus is going to like wrap the top of the crate with his hammer, not hard enough to like damage the crate, and just like stop.
And has no effect whatsoever.
I'm going to wrap him on the knuckles and tell him to stop.
Manar and
Dustin, you're breaking up, sorry.
Destil, you're breaking up.
help. every language he knows.
Kevin tells you that Warlock's Bane
Say,
was in good spirits when he dropped the thing off. She said that apparently this is a minion of the Flying Pig, and that she knew that Flumph Inc. would want to question him and find out what he knows before disposing of him.
Excellent. Yes. Did she say she would be back or no?
And Kevin looks at you and frowns. So she didn't say anything else. She was here for less than a minute.
Okay.
If she was here any longer, I would have went and gotten moss caps and made her take the thing away.
Fair enough.
And Kevin crosses his arms and says, I'm not questioning it.
it doesn't seem to speak any language I do.
No, when you go over, Alex, to speak to it, I mean, just approaching the cage, it's a feral animal. It doesn't seem to have any intelligence at all.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was gonna get his name, but I guess I'm not.
Is it actually an animal?
It's not, I mean, let's... now that it's uncovered, make an Arcana check at advantage. Seeker.
Alright. That is a 15.
Looking at the thing, it doesn't look like anything you've seen. Its face is vaguely shaped like a pig in the sense that it's mostly hairless and it has a snout and it has 2 teeth on the bottom of its jaw that are larger than the rest that kind of poke out like tusks that it's currently using to grab at the side of this cage. But looking at the way its arms are jointed and the way it's moving back and forth, bouncing off the walls of this little crate, reminds you of the way that Fettel moved down the tunnel when you fought him the other day. Knowing that Fettel was somehow polymorphed or transformed, this might be the default form of whatever he was.
But Fettel also was walking around giving people letters and having conversations, so...
That's the rumor.
I think it's kind of adorable.
It's not adorable at all.
Gus
Lucius
thinks it's
attempts
kind of...
Lucius,
Go ahead.
Lucius attempts to speak to the thing in Infernal and say, "Who are you?
What do you say? Just who are you?
Who are you? Who are you?"
It doesn't seem to understand what you're saying, but when you speak to it in Infernal, it immediately throws itself as far away in the cage as it can get for you and shrinks into the far corner away from it. And wraps its limbs around its face and torso and screeches.
That's an unpleasant sound.
I'm going to cast Comprehend Languages.
Okay.
Yeah, Lucius is gonna put that up as well.
Gus is going to go into the kitchen over here.
And then I'm going to say in common,
Mhm.
Can you understand me at all?
Speaking of the thing with comprehend languages. It doesn't respond in any meaningful way, which tells you that the thing doesn't have enough intelligence to have a spoken language. It is literally some sort of infernal animal.
Is it a beast? Because
How
then
is
if
it
it's small, then I can talk to it.
Do you try? How do you try doing it?
I'm gonna just kind of crouch down real low and just kind of like speak to it soothingly, like
no, I
I
mean
would
like
to
what,
an animal.
what spell or class feature or what are you doing?
Speak with small beasts.
Okay. It again gives no indication that it knows what you're saying. But as soon as the infernal stops, it goes back to bouncing on the cage. So when you hunker down next to it, it flings itself at your face and tries to claw out from between the bars at you.
Without some way to detect this thing's thoughts, I don't think it has enough intelligence to talk to us. So that Nodal must have been enchanted in some way if he's the same sort of creature as this.
Is interrogate, like, did she make air quotes when she said that?
You asking Kevin?
Yeah.
He shakes his head. All I know is it hasn't been quiet since she dropped it off. We put a blanket over it so we didn't have to look at it anymore.
Gus, at that point, Gus walks back in and he's got like food scraps,
Mm-hmm.
and he just dumps it through the edge of the cage.
Okay.
He just like to feed the like trying to give it food.
And I mean, the thing immediately scrabbles at the food scraps. And bites and rips at part of it, flings the rest of it out between the bars, making a mess of it.
All right, I don't think it's cute anymore.
So
Seeker rummages around in his coin pouch and takes out a silver piece,
Okay.
ties it up to the 10-foot pole that they bought,
Okay.
and starts poking it through the bars towards the thing.
Make it to
See
hit
what it
roll.
does.
Yeah, make it to hit roll.
Can I roll to just get near it? Because I just want to scare it. I don't want to actually hit it.
So when you get near it with the thing, I mean, it tries to avoid being poked.
Does it try to avoid it as though it's afraid of the silver, or if it just doesn't want to be poked?
You have-
does it seem afraid?
You have no idea. I mean,
All right, then yeah, I am gonna poke the thing.
yeah,
I'll make
that
it.
requires it to hit roll.
All right, that's a untrained 17.
So you manage to kind of pin it behind, and when you stick the silver piece to its skin, it howls in pain, and it leaves a mark on its flesh when you pull back.
That's nasty.
And then it recoils from you. It no longer is throwing itself at the bars. It's now hunkering back in the corner of the cage with its limbs wrapped around and one of its clawed hands grabbing at the place where you branded it.
Seeker goes back, like leaves the room, goes into his room, and you hear him rummaging around on some bookshelves.
Yeah, Lucius gets a good look at this thing. Have I come across anything like this in any of my studies?
Make an Arcana check. Actually, you're a Tiefling. We'll say
Yeah.
either Arcana or History.
Yeah, let's go history. That's a 24.
24.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fiend of some kind, and there are
Yep.
no shortage of shapes and sizes and types of fiendling, both lawful and chaotic, that essentially have animal intelligence that are used as food sources or trained as pets or torture devices or basically any sort of thing that a beast of burden could do for a human.
Yeah.
And of course, they can be magicked into appearing and acting as people do for short lengths of time, depending on what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And your guess is that's what was happening with Thettel.
That was one of these beasts and was magic.
Right.
Seeker.
So yeah,
sorry.
it's a low-level fiend or an imp of some kind. It would be pretty easy to slay, especially assuming you have it in captivity. And under no circumstances are you ever going to get any useful information out of it. It can't be spoken to because it's not an animal in the literal sense.
Kevin, is she coming back for this? What did she say exactly?
She said,
She said we were supposed to kill it.
yeah, maybe you'd want to question it before you disposed of it.
Okay, I'm
So
going to
here I have one idea.
Yeah,
And
okay.
if I gotta get Seeker's ear on this as well as Lucius's.
Seeker comes back out of the room, waving what appears to be a penny dreadful, saying, "Devil! It's devils that are silver. It's one of the lawful ones."
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Good to
right.
know. So there's one way I think we might be able to get information out of it. If we somehow control it while letting it loose, we could see where it leads us. Maybe it'll go back to some sort of hideout, something like that. That sounds pretty dangerous. I don't know if we have any realistic way to contain it, and I wouldn't want it to get out of our control.
If it got out
But,
of our control and went back to a hideout, wouldn't it just go down to that cave?
Well,
Unless
it wasn't in
there
the cave when
unless-
we were there.
Unless it was.
So I'm thinking
yeah,
it might
no.
be from a different cave.
No, what I'm thinking is like Warlock's Bane found this somewhere else other than underneath her house.
That's the only way I can think to get any information. It's not smart enough to do anything else, but it might lead us back to where it was living.
Gus kind of raises his hand and says, "My vote is we wait till Warlock Spain comes back, we ask her where you found it, and then we throw this cage into the ocean and drown this thing."
Do the lawful ones drown? Seeker? What does it say in the book?
Seeker reads through the book. It says, "And thus did he smite the creature with his silvered spear. Smiting? Smiting works.
I don't have a silver spear. I just have a regular spear. Let's drown it.
Hang on.
Well, wait, if we're gonna let this thing loose, we need to get Warlock's Bane anyway, because I'm not letting loose a fiend in the city.
I didn't say let it loose. I say throw it in the ocean and let it drown.
Well, why wouldn't we just stab it?
Because it'll get blood
Just-
everywhere.
Does stabbing even work?
Says
Like-
right here, smited with silver spear.
I don't have a silver spear. Would stabbing with a steel spear work?
I don't know.
And like Gus looks over at Lisa Vesterhoff and says, "I'm not getting blood in this room."
And she has a big frown on her face, and she nods in agreement. Like she doesn't get paid enough to clean these carpets as often as you seem to think she needs to.
I could shout at it with magic. I haven't seen anything not die from that.
Why don't we? I mean, we shouldn't take it outside because people will notice. But maybe if we put it on back by with the bow. Wait, which one's the bow?
No, we literally just go out this door, this door,
Yeah,
and
the
then
bow.
throw it back over there.
I am casting Detect Magic as a ritual on
Okay.
the creature.
Casting Detect Magic. You don't get anything from the creature. You get some mild abjurations from the box that it's being held in.
Yeah, she'll probably want her box back.
Yeah,
I mean, we could fish. Okay,
No, she leaves this problem with us. We're keeping the box.
so
My
anybody
vote's to take it onto the back of the ship and kill it there with magic, and then yeah, we can keep the box. I bet
no.
all sorts of stuff you can make with that box.
We're not drowning it.
Why? It's clean, it's economical, and we don't.
We
have
don't
to
know
go
if it
in
can breathe water.
Okay, we drop it underwater for 15 minutes, and then we fish it back up. And
I
then
didn't
we
just
still
make a
kick it-
cap. Oh wait, no, I did make a cap today. I have a cap for one person.
Okay.
Lucius, you're the expert. What do you think we should do?
Like, I'll
I
stab
think I'm very much of I'm very much a fan of the seeing where it tries to flee back to.
What
Alright,
if
well,
we
I'm not
make a
doing that without
collar-
Demon's Bane.
What if we make like a chain out of silver?
That would just you saw what just brief contact with a coin did.
Right.
like before we let it loose, I think we should at least speak to Warlock Bane. Like, okay, this is getting annoying, and Gus just kind of drags drags it. He just puts it in the hall and closes the door.
And the
And
muted
the-
sounds of the angry fiend.
Wait, where's that curtain? Who has the beaded curtain?
Seeker
Oh.
opens up the door and throws the tarp back on it. And closes it again.
Okay.
Like we
but-
can solve the noise problem.
But like, we should wait till Warlock Bane comes back because, like, you know, if we want to see where it came from, it might just be as simple as asking her where she got it first, and then we can still
I
follow
have a
it later.
magic doohickey you can talk to me with, apparently.
A magic doohickey.
Yeah,
Is it reusable?
I don't know. She just gave it to me.
Why don't we just ask at her house?
Do we want to kill the thing? Like, my opinion is that she's probably going to expect us to have already killed it. I don't want to
I don't-
disappoint her.
I don't want to just set it free.
No, that's really risky.
Then
We
here's
should
the-
just
here's the-
think
here's
of how to keep it under control, maybe. But
I do have a spell, but it only works very briefly.
is there a way we could disguise it to look like a large dog or something, so that we're not walking a fiend through the street?
What spell does Lucius have?
I have the command spell, but that only works for one round.
You could ask it to point us to where it came from, and then that's maybe the best we get from it.
It's a one-word command.
Home. Ask it home, and see what it does.
It's a question, not a command.
So,
And then we kill it.
So
That'll
the problem
be all
with
we can-
command
so-
is the spell has no effect if it doesn't understand your language.
understand. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it responded to my words, but it didn't understand the meaning behind.
Okay, so if we want to keep it alive, we should just go put it in here and then put the beaded curtain up so it's not like keeping Kevin up at night because his bedroom's right there.
I think we should.
I
Why
thought
don't
we
we
just
just-
kill it.
Yeah, either just kill it or send a runner to Warlock Spain right now.
Warlock Spain can always get us another one.
But I think that Warlock Spain might have a. I think. The one of you should go to Warlock Spain, see if she has any method by which we can keep this thing under control while we move it. Or
I mean, she has the
get it-
cage.
command it in some way to tell us where it came from. That's my thought.
So are we going to go back to Warlock Spain's Manor tonight? Or are we going to send a runner? Or are we going to...
I think we should send the runner and deal with this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, let's hear it. Like, leave the demon alive for some other plan. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
So you put him down in your storeroom and put the beads up so you can't hear it thrashing about?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll offer to guard it while someone goes.
Lucius is willing to guard this thing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Well, then I'll head off to Warlock Spain's.
All right. And we will call it there for the week. We'll pick it up next Sunday at Warlock Spain's house. Went ahead and posted the straw poll in the Twitch chat. I'm going to go dark for 2 minutes while I do some calculations on my end, and you guys can think about awarding some blips. We'll hand out some experience. And I didn't get to kill anybody this week, no matter how hard I tried.
Next week.
You came close. You came close. A for effort.
Knocked me unconscious like 3 times.
Oh yeah, those were nasty.
Who was the most creative?
Gus for asking the peasants to come down and heal us.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Who was badass?
Okay. I would nominate myself. I don't like to nominate myself, so I'm not. But like you guys, Seeker and his just like, the gall it took, the pure just like he's like a social badass. Just getting that money out of that man for that. I died.
That did kind of kill us. Yeah. Like, I did kind of break a lot of people.
Seeker for getting the money
For the sales. For the
the
magic.
We're gonna sell the sales back to him.
All right.
Just
Further
like
the party.
I can guarantee we can get that back.
Alright, so here's also the other thing in relation to that. It would take 25 gold pieces and 1 week to find a buyer. That's probably more than you can make in the 600 difference is probably more that we can make in a week doing anything else.
Yeah.
So we'll find them a buyer and get the 600.
Yes, we get right. I mean,
But we'll give him just in case. We'll give him the 600. Get the original 600 now, and then say we'll find him a buyer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good idea.
So party goals?
Let's see. I'm going to say
All right. Who wants some experience?
Everyone. We're thirsty for it.
Everybody has 75 experience coming from the putrid haunts.
You sure?
Yep.
I feel like a lot of the creatures book there are not at the proper CR.
Oh, they're fine.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're really
Wait,
not.
what's your average party level?
2.
Yeah,
Two.
it's a CR2 monster, and it put up a good fight against the whole party. So that
It
worked
would have
out
gone
well.
over if we hadn't started with it on top of both of our squish. That was the main problem with that fight.
I did manage to recharge on the first round, which was nice.
That was also not good. Yeah.
Good timing.
Oh, by the way, the other thing that you guys find before the close of the session that you might want to put into your haste books is you are billed for a broken desk at the Gnomish embassy. A bill for 27 gold and 8 silver.
Is Gus sparking value?
Gus could have
Like-
made 1,200 gold just all on his own today.
Listen, I'm gonna take that bill and I'm gonna frame it and I'm gonna put it in my office.
And now Gus knows why Alex doesn't understand what a banana costs.
Just to be clear, we're not paying this bill.
No, we're going to have to.
I'm only if Alex wants to pay the bill.
Is it
It's
Flumph Inc. or to
No, they're
Gus
billing
specifically.
Flumph Inc.
I said we dock his pay for it.
I say we take it out of the family account of Alex.
$27 gold and 9 silver. Come on.
You broke his
I'm
desk.
gonna write it down, we'll figure it out later.
All right.
Like, listen, like, he could have literally... How much does it cost to get a hedge wizard to cast freaking mending? Not 27 gold.
He probably knows mending himself. Maybe it's the principle of the thing.
It probably costs about 10 gold actually to cast mending.
Listen, if it was the principle of the thing, he wouldn't have offered me 1,200 gold to abandon my friends.
He just has different principles.
Florian will go first.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Let's hear it, Florian.
True neutral. Sometimes you have laws, but laws are restrictive. Sometimes you have to be good, but there's no way to define good. For sticking up for the demon's contract and saying we should get all 5 questions out of him. That is way more important than trying to stop whatever dumb thing he did with the demon. Like, how the hell are you doing that? Crazy.
Okay.
Ideals. There are infinite truths. We must experience as many as we can and figure out their validity for starting the whole catfishing charade. That was exciting.
Sure was.
I enjoyed that more than I thought I would. That's it.
Okay.
I'll go.
Wait, before you do, who else spent blips this session? Because I have Lucius.
I did.
So how many do you have right now?
I have 4.
Okay, was that it?
Yep.
Okay, then yeah, I'm up to date here.
Yeah, I rolled it on a 3 that turned into a 2.
That's just unlikely.
All right, Seeker,
I mean-
what you got?
All right, I've got opportunity is everywhere if you can see it for using my unseen servant to hold coffin coins and bait a guy into attacking me.
Okay.
I've got anybody can be fooled except for me for being 100% down for tricking a demon to get this soul back. And I've got chaotic good. Good is only taking from those that can afford it. Chaos is taking them for all they're worth for selling that guy back his sale.
Kind of a dick move.
Hey, I gave him exactly what I said I would. In fact, he got more assurances that we were on the up and up than people normally would, because we had already done it.
What the flying pig is going to say to us when we finally meet him.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Lucius.
Alignment, lawful neutral, take your place in society and work well for your fellow people. Take care of your own for, Actually, let me come back to that one real quick.
Okay.
Ideal, knowledge is paramount. For advocating for somehow trying to leverage this pig creature fiend into taking us to his leader. I flawed double or nothing for taking a real risk at ruining our relations with Journey to leverage that into a new business opportunity.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I can come up with. I'm sorry.
Who's next?
I think it's just me.
I'm
Alignment, lawful neutral, always be willing to take the law into your own hands, but no further for his willingness to allow the parched man to go to hell. Quite literally. Ideal, the dead deserve dignity, the living deserve to reap what they sow, for being willing to take the rich people that were sold on Warlock Insurance for a ride. Because if they're stupid enough to fall for that, Alex is very willing to show up with his sextant and make a bunch of measurements.
Okay.
And flaw, we can handle this for refusing his father's money.
And that just leaves Gustavus.
Neutral good. I must be a benefactor and strive to leave things in a better state than I found them. For my insistence that we do everything we can to save this man, despite the mistakes that he might have made.
Okay.
My flaw, drunk Gus says hello, for the business with the rival and the bar and trying to get free drinks out of her.
How much money did you lose on that? How much money did you actually have?
I looked and I had 6 gold, so I lost the full 5 gold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I currently have like a gold and like 40 something silver to my name.
Those are really good.
That's why they're rivals.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change my ideal to my companions are all. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this.
In the meantime, I do have one for my alignment, because Lucius did advocate for saving this man's soul, because he kind of knows what he's up against. So he doesn't want that for anybody.
So take care of your own in this context means look out for other warlocks?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Here's my question for Lucius then, and then we'll come back to Gus in just a second.
yeah.
Does Lucius think he's smarter than all these other warlocks?
On the contrary, he doesn't. And he is trying to bend everything he can to getting out from under this thing. And he's there's a table in Xanathar's that for like the patron's attitude to the warlock. And
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it too much, but I'm looking at one of these things, and I'm thinking that that this one right here would probably fit the best. And it's, your patron tricked you into the pack and treats you as a slave. That's kind of where Lucius sees his relationship with his patron.
Okay. All right, Gus, you've had enough time to think. What are we doing?
I'm going to. So my new ideal is my companions are my support structure in the city, and I have to do what I can to protect them from themselves.
Can I get the assist blip for giving him time to come up with that blip?
I had it. I just was trying to think of a way that wasn't like mean.
My companions are my support structure. I must do what I can to protect them from themselves.
Right.
Okay.
And because Gus is still new to the city and all that, and he doesn't really know how anything works like that, and he's still finding his feet.
Okay.
And I'm going to claim that blip for just
you did hug that guy for 4 turns.
I walked over, grabbed the horrible leech monster, and just we shuffled to the side for 4 turns away from everybody while they did their best to slap leeches off of themselves.
Okay.
I basically soloed that monster. Okay.
And peasants threw rocks at you.
And
Yeah, but that wasn't related.
That's what happens when you hug a zombie. Sometimes peasants throw rocks at you.
It's like, ew, he's cracked cooties.
Anything else? I think that was everybody. Yes.
Yep. Oh, in the video.
And we give 1 blip for the most creative solution to a problem this session.
We gave that to Gus for calling out to the townsfolk.
Who furthered the party's goals the most?
We didn't get there yet.
Okay.
We gave that to Seeker for finding a way to keep us from going further into debt.
That was
No, that was for badass.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
I would say give that one to Lucius for
Warlock Insurance.
Warlock Insurance. Yes.
That's a okay.
I don't know if that was a benefit.
Party goal, huh? All right.
Give
Well,
me
the
that-
party goal is to make money, right?
So we're awarding it
That
to
was
Lucius
money.
for the Warlock Insurance scheme,
We absolutely are.
and Badass to Seeker. Why?
For selling someone something that we had already done.
Selling the sales back to the guy who originally had them.
We award a blip for intangibles.
That has got to go to Florian for his horrible. Okay, like I've got one for each of them, and y'all can decide. One for the for Alexander going to see his father, and that whole mess, and then the other one is Florian for the letters and that whole mess.
I want to put forward Seeker's origin story because that was incredible, and I loved everything about that.
I'm okay with that.
With which one? There's
I'm
like
gonna
3
vote
on the
for
table.
Florian. I'm gonna vote for Florian.
Everyone
Yeah,
gets
I vote for the letters. I
Florian.
don't like getting more than one blip.
I was gonna give Nodal a second blip just because he's my friend, but now I'm not going to because he doesn't like getting more than one.
No, from them. From them.
And let's see the straw poll here. Refresh results. Lucius is taking our straw poll this week.
What?
Alright.
What did I do? So I can keep
Warlock
doing it.
Insurance.
So we're level 2, right? So blips are worth 20. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Right.
Warlock Insurance.
So Alexander, I've got you down for 3 blips this week.
Mhm.
Florian, I've got you down for 3 blips this week.
That sounds correct.
Gus, I have you down for 5. Seeker, I have you down for 4. All of those blips need to roll over into experience because you guys are sitting at 6. And Lucius, I've got you down for 5. And you're sitting on 4, so you're going to be cashing in at least 3 of those.
3, yeah.
How much are they worth? You said 20?
20 each.
Okay.
So 60 XPs.
Still far away.
I think I can get to level 3 if I catch in all my blips. Let me do this one more time. 680 plus 75 for encounters.
I'm still
Oh,
100 shy
hold
if
on,
I
I'm-
cashed them all in, so nerds to that.
I'm awarding everybody 1 blip for electing to save the thirsty man's soul.
Okay.
For agreeing to
Even
use
Florian?
fewer questions. Listen, Florian was outvoted, but he still did the right thing.
Florian just starts screaming questions.
I
color am I?
honestly kind of expected you to do that, and I'm just sitting there going,
Mother's maiden name! Mother's maiden name!
Last 4 digits of your social security number.
How many fish are in the sea?
11.
So everybody has 1 blip coming for that.
Yeah, I can totally go to level 3, so I'm going to cash in some blip.
All right. So how many How many is everybody
How many-
walking into the next session with? Is all I need to know.
I'm staying at 6.
Okay.
6.
6.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay at 6.
I'll give you that in a second. That
Okay.
not being able to hit one of my keyboard buttons is really annoying.
Is it because there's a cat in the way?
No, it's because my run key stopped working, so I can't go start plus run and then calc and then do things quickly.
You want me to mail you a keyboard?
Black market keyboard supplier.
Alright, let me just do this in the actual.
It's no less shady
I
than
think I'm
Warlock
starting with
Insurance.
2 blips, but let me do the math.
Yep.
So 65 for experience.
I'm guessing it's 2 because that's what I would be at if I wanted to cash in enough.
And then I need to get some.
Hey, Burko, can you read back that ideal back to me because like
I have
clicked-
my companions are my support structure. I must do what I can to protect them from themselves.
Warlock Insurance.
Yeah, I'd have 2 blips. I have to cash out 8.
All right, so everybody's going in with
Steven
6
Flumph
except
Inc.
Alex. Going in with 2, and Alex is now level 3.
Which
We're a
makes
con-
everybody else's blips worth.
Well, blips are worth 20 this session, but next session they'll be worth.
Yeah, I know. Next session.
They'll all be worth 60.
Ooh, that's good.
Well,
McDohl's gonna be laughing about this all week.
we're gonna have 4 businesses by the end of the campaign. It's gonna be incredible.
Or that's all. Last campaign, I had 4 businesses on my own.
Sorry, it just hit me.
So when we reconvene next week, we're going to find out why Inaharis dumped off a caged, horrible pig monster on your boat. And we've also got a few other little plot lines to play around with. I have no shortage of things to throw at you guys. I also have the next dungeon is ready to go as soon as we have a way into it. Or I could just keep throwing random monsters from the Tome of Beasts.
What are those
Also,
eyeballs
really-
do these days?
One of the Oculo Swarm.
Yeah.
Those are always fun.
Are Wendy's eyeballs still glowing after all this time?
Somebody had him in their pocket for the whole campaign, I think.
I think it's Adrix.
Atrix
You know
had a-
what? Those might be like legendary magical relics at this point, like the eyes of a god.
Yeah, actually.
The eyes of the pattern that was formed, etc., etc., etc. Alright, guys, thanks so much for playing this week. We have invented Warlock Insurance. That's excellent. I'll
Is
see
it
everybody next
insurance
Sunday.
From Warlocks or insurance by Warlocks?
Yes.
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 Peace out, guys. Thanks for playing. See you next Sunday.